Hi everyone, my name is Kobe, and I'm going to talk to you about the SAP threat monitoring for Azure Sentinel solution. We're going to talk about its key capabilities, its features, and I'm going to show a short demo. So I want to start with this slide. This slide is we have a screenshot from the demo that I'm going to show you in a minute. But before that, let's start talk about the SAP threat monitoring for Azure Sentinel, which will continuously monitor your systems, your SAP system, all across the different layers. Let's talk about the different layers. It will monitor your operating system layer, either Linux or Windows. It will monitor your DB layer, HANA DB for example, or SQL. It will monitor the business logic of the SAP application, and for that it will use the NetWeaver interface. It will use SAP control interface to get deep applicative data for the SAP systems. Then it will allow you to detect threats, all kind of threats across your SAP environment. There are more than 50 predefined detections that you can use once you deploy the solution. Now we are keep on we are keep work we are keep on working and adding new detections. But of course, you can create your own specific rules if you'd like to, and you can edit the existing ones. And I'm gonna show you in a minute in the demo. Um, in this slide, it's this slide talks about how it works. You need to We need to unlock first the data by installing an add-on to SAP, a change request, a CR, and then providing a user for the connector to connect to. Then after we have a user that we can connect with and the SAP system is ready, we can install with only one command a Docker container. Typically, the Docker container is on a Linux VM, but you can also use Kubernetes if you want to, or other orchestration tools to run this Docker container. It will connect using SAP RFC, remote function calls, the NetWeaver calls, and that's how it will stream back the data from the SAP systems through the Docker to Azure Sentinel. We have a short examples of some of the logs that we collect, the ABAP audit log, the spool log, the job log, and in our documentation link we have more logs that we collect the data from, and documentation for each one of the logs, which fields each one of them has, and you can read more about that over there. Let's go to the demo right quick. Just a second. Yeah, this one. Okay, so you already know Sentinel, you know the workspace. If you go to the logs over here, you can see the different ABAP logs that we use. For example, the ABAP audit log, and then you can query the ABAP audit log. Let's take for example, take 100. This view is a log view. It doesn't show you in a visualized way all the data. It just shows you rows of records for that specific log that you chose. So if I chose the audit log, I see all the data that's relevant to the filters that I put on, the time range and all the others. 100 different records for that log. Now, when you deploy the solution, you get predefined content. What predefined content means? For example, we have the workbooks. We have 4 different workbooks. Workbook is a dashboard in SAP. In Sentinel, I'm sorry, we have, for example, the audit log browser workbook, and it allows you to see the data in a friendly way that you can detect all kind of anomalies in your data. For example, if we have this one shows us the user login over time, over the past 90 days. You can see the time range over here, which you also can edit this one, and you can choose what system. If you have more than one, you can choose what system you want to see the data on. So for example, user login over time, so I can see there's a peak over here, there's another peak over here. I can check what happens in those specific days. I have the number of events from the different systems that I have in my environment, in my organization. In a very interesting tab is the events one. the events I have, all the events that I get from SAP by severity. So I have low, medium, and high. I have the different events that I get by user over here. So I can see each message is if it's low, medium, or high, and go across the different events. So I can go over that. We have 4 different workbooks, 4 different dashboards when you deploy the solution. So you can go over the different workbooks and see each one of them each one of them tracks different events. For this one is for initial access and attempts to bypass SAP security mechanism. This one is for persistency and data exploration, and this one is for suspicious privileges operations. Now, beside of that, we said that you have also 50 predefined rules. So, for example, we see here a bunch of them. When you click on one of them, let's choose the one with the user because that's my favorite. Change in sensitive privilege user. So each one of them is basically a query. You can see the query over here. You can change the query if you'd like to. You have the edit button. You can change the query. You can edit it by according to your needs and requests. But the most important thing that I want to mention is the entity mapping over here. We pull out from every query, from every result, all kind of insights by entity mapping. What does it mean? That we define that the email address that we use in the query should be an account. The host will be a host, of course, and the IP will be those fields. So we define those fields to be different entities. What does it mean? Those entities, when we'll have an incident, will correlate to different activities and different logs in Sentinel. And then we can see if one account over here has correlates events and other related events in other sources that we have in which are not SAP. So let's take, for example, let's go to the Azure Sentinel dashboard. We'll go to incident. Let's go back a couple of months from over here, let's say, okay. And we'll choose one of the alerts, okay. View full data. So we see we have an alert over here. We can investigate this incident, and once we investigate, we can see there are 2 different entities over here. There is this IP, and when I click this IP, I see it has. Let me zoom in. I see it has 11 related alerts. Okay, so 11 alerts that also are connected with this IP, which I can click on that and investigate those events as well. Not like this. I can see the query over here if I would like to see the query, and if I want to see it in a visualized way, let me go back to the incident over here, related alerts, and I can see those different alerts, and I can click on them and investigate each one of them and track in each one of them. So that's very interesting. And I can see also I have entities, could be users, could be VMs. This one is a VM, and I can see it has 51 related alerts. So that is a very cool feature in Azure Sentinel. One last thing I want to show you is the watch list. Watch list over here. We have 16 different watch lists in our environment, in our solution. When you deploy them, you get them automatically, and those are to configure different users and different systems on your alerts on your environment, so it can reduce some of the noise. For example, if you don't want the privilege user alerts will work on every privileged user, so you can go into this watch list, edit watch list item, and select the specific users that you want to the privileged users alerts will work on, so it will reduce some of the noise. Another example is the watch list is the systems. If you don't want your alerts will run for every SAP system that you have, you can go to this watch list and filter by your own all the different systems that you want the alerts to work on. For example, if you don't want the alert will work on development systems, you can just not click on them. If you want them to work only on production, so you can click on the production systems, and then the alerts will work only on the production systems. That was a really quick overview on the SAP solution for Sentinel. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and ask. Thank you.